Shane Warne has passed away. His management have released a brief statement in which they say that he passed away in Thailand of a suspected heart attack. It says Shane was found unresponsive in his villa, and despite the best efforts of medical staff, he could not be revived. The statement goes on to say that his family requests privacy at this time and that further details will be provided in due course. But the news this afternoon, Paul, is that Shane Warne has died at the age of 52.
Thanks very much, Alex. Wow.
Oh, it's a real shocker. I mean, it's so sad, so sad. I mean, you're talking about that giant of the game, one of wisdom's best 5 cricketers of all time, a brilliant captain, a wonderful bowler, a great commentator, influence on the IPL, on Hampshire, on commentary, such a big figure in the world of cricket, and great fun.
Yeah.
Great fun, really played the game with in a wonderful way, with a smile on his face, and brilliant
Great
bowler.
guy to chat to, and I'm sure all of his friends, colleagues
there'll be
around
so many
the game
people
will be.
upset, yeah.
Well, joining us now to talk about Shane is a great friend of his, Mark Nicholas. Good afternoon, Mark.
Hi, guys.
Wow.
Hi.
I mean, this is
a shocker.
Complete shock for everybody.
Yeah, well, your newsman, the story's right. Bang on. That's exactly what happened, and only a short while ago, too. I mean, you summed it up pretty well. This is one of the greatest cricketers there's ever been, but much more than that, he's one of the most inspirational sporting people that's ever been. He turned a whole generation around to a new type of, in a way, a sort of rock and roll cricket. He played it to an extremely high level, as I say, one of the greatest that has ever played the game, and yet he always was an entertainer. He was never compromised by his art from what he really valued, which was, loving the fact that people so loved watching him play. Amazing guy, extraordinary energy. I mean, the only consolation that I can come up with sitting here is that he gave this life a good crack. I mean, he fitted more in his 52 years than most of us do in 90 of them. Yeah. I wrote his book with him, and I spent a lot of time with him in my life. We were very close, and what would I say? I would say that I would trust him with my life. I would say that I would rate him as one of the great enthusiasts for anything. I mean, he was up for anything. I would say that his stubborn streak worked for the good of the game, in that he wouldn't compromise on things he didn't believe in. And I would say that of all the people you could imagine being a terrible loss, he's top of the list, really, because he gave so much. I say, you summed it up well. He gave so much in so many areas. I mean, this is a desperate blow. I keep thinking of his dad and his kids. His dad's a marvellous man. His mum's a marvellous woman. They will be.
It's devastating. Yeah. It is.
It was only 12 hours ago he was tweeting about the news of Rob Marsh that we discussed just now. Shane sending out a tweet saying how sorry he was to hear the news, and we'll bring Steve Harmison into our conversation. Good afternoon, Steve.
Afternoon, everyone. I
mean, don't get everybody in a complete and utter state of shock over this. I mean, you got to know him well over the years, didn't you?
Yeah, I literally sitting by my computer, and my daughter just come in with a phone, and I work obviously from a cricketing family. Like Mark was just saying there about his kids and that. And daughter's come in, got a tear in her eye, and she said, "Dad, look at this on the phone." It was a tweet from the Barmy Army about, and it is heartbreaking. Last night, a great mentor to me in my early career, losing Rod Marsh was one thing, but Shane Warne, I literally, like Mark, Mark knew him a hell of a lot better than I did. I played against Warne, got to know Warne, the character, got to know Warne as a friend, and somebody who, I think he is the greatest cricketer I ever seen. And I know you say things when bad things have happened. For me, he's the best cricketer in the modern generation that's been in my lifetime, and possibly just before that as well. And the thing about Shane was he was such a competitor on the field, but when you did well, he was so respectful of the game as well, because you'd see him shake people's hands, clap when they did well, and getting 50s and 100s and things like that. And that was the man that was Shane Warne. And it is so heartbreaking. It really is, because he's, like Mark said, he gives so much to this game. Yeah, I know that we're saying about what he's give to life, and he has had a good crack at it, but he gives so much to this game. He really did.
Even Steve, even in 2005, when he was coming towards the end of his sort of Test playing career, he was still a fearsome opponent, wasn't he? He was always just brilliant, even with the bat as well as the ball, of course, where he was one of the greatest, probably the greatest leg spinner of all time. And we all remember his introduction into Test cricket, the ball of the century in, was it 93 or something like that? Yeah. And, you know, from that moment onwards, you were always watching an artist with the ball. He was such a brilliant, brilliant player.
You were. And in 2005, just epitomised what Shane Warne was. The great side of Australia, yes, England beat them. Shane got 40 wickets in that series, but he was more of a handful with a bat than he was, because the stubbornness that he was as a character and the way he was, and what epitomised Shane, the way he played the game, was you just seen Kevin Peterson walk off winning the Ashes, and he didn't even get past the 30-yard circle. Shane Warne was there shouting at him, shaking his hand, saying well done. Yes, Australia had lost the Ashes, but that was the character of playing against Shane Warne. He give you a fearful amount of stick when you were in battle, but he was also respectful, and listening to him commentate, you listen to him talk about the game and the way he was in and around the game. He lived his whole life for the game of cricket, and he gives so much to the game of cricket. And you could probably hear my voice. I'm just devastated. He's died at 52. It's horrific.
Mark Nicholas is still with us. Mark, the other thing that comes to mind is what a great mentor he was of cricketers. I remember we used to chat to Sean Udall, and Sean used to talk about his presence at Hampshire and how important he was, and how he mentored young players, how supportive he was, and maybe that's something he didn't get as much credit for as he should have done.
Yeah. Look, it's all. He's got a, there's a portfolio of achievement in that life that it can be matched by very few, and all of it is at the top of the ladder. Really, there was nothing that he did that he did badly. He was a hugely committed human being, and when I said earlier, at least he'd lived a full life. Every single thing he did was sort of slightly on the edge in a way. If he played golf, he'd play for a bit more money than anybody else. He was just one of those people that if he drove you somewhere, he kind of revved the car a bit more than anybody else. If he, I don't know. I'm a bit stuck here.
Absolutely.
One of the most amazing people I've ever met, and I think it's just terrible.
Yeah, no, I agree, Mark.
We appreciate you joining us.
You coming on.
Thank you very much, Steve. It's the early hours of the morning in Australia, so many Australians won't know this news yet.
Yeah, they're going to be shocked. But you're a true great when opponents have so much respect for you. And Virender Sehwag, who would have faced him, he just said, cannot believe it. One of the greatest spinners, the man who made spin cool, superstar Shane Warne is no more.